So Kafka's release is just 2 weeks away and we are missing on a little less than 100 subscribers. What is up, guys? My name is Ray and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. So in today's video we are talking about the updated tier list with Blade, but before we hop into the topic of today's video, I just want to point you guys again to my YouTube short section, which you can see currently on the screen. I post their video every day. I'll try to push out content out there every day, so definitely subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the content. Also, I'm planning to do a giveaway, which you can see in this YouTube short. It is the 1000 subscribers giveaway. We're needing 1000 subscribers and I want to reach that goal until the release day of Kafka, so we have a little less than 14 days until Kafka releases, and I am planning to give away one express supply pass and one nameless honor, which is the battle pass, live on stream on the release day of Kafka. Yeah, so definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on stream then. So alright, with that out of the way, let's talk about the updated tier list. I honestly wanted to put the video out like at least 3 or 4 days ago already, because the tier list was updated on the 19th of July already, which was, I think, only 1 or 2 days after Blade's release. And yeah, there are a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. And the thing now is that nothing really changed on the tier list, but there was a lot of movement happening. So let's go into it. We have, of course, the 3 categories. As always, we have the damage dealers, which includes erudition, hunt, and destruction characters, with one exception, that is Welt, who is a nihility character. Then we have offensive supporters and debuffers. This includes harmony and nihility characters mainly or only. And then we have defensive supporters. This includes preservation and abundance characters. Today we want to go, I think, one by one over the categories. So we start, of course, with the damage dealers. I think after the release of Blade, the spot of Sealy didn't change, and a nice addition that they did put on this tier list. Oh, by the way, I didn't give shoutouts. So I used the tier list from prideband.gg, which is a tier list that I do agree a lot with. They update it very regularly, so every time a new character comes out, they do update this tier list, and I mostly agree. I agree like with 90% plus of their movements or of their changes, and I really like the additions, so I definitely can recommend this site. Even if you're looking for more than just tier lists, there are the DPS rankings, usage rates of the Memory of Chaos, and so on. I will go over this in future videos, but yeah, today we're focusing on the tier list. So alright, let's get back into the topic. Now, as I already said, even with the release of Blade, I don't think that there is movement for Sealy. I still do think, till this day, and I mentioned that in my past videos already, and I will mention that in this video as well. I do believe Sealy is the best character in the game, or the most broken character in the game, and especially in terms of damage dealer. So right now, in my personal opinion, that is like, I don't know, I'd say this is a little subjective. I do believe that there are just 2 broken characters that exist in this game, and in my opinion it is Sealy and it is Locha, even on E0. Especially on E6, I do think that Locha is the best unit in the game by far, but because I'm a free-to-play player, I want to talk a little bit more from a free-to-play perspective, from a free-to-play standpoint, and I also want to focus on that. I do believe that Sealy and Locha are the best units in the game right now. And especially in the categories where we want to see those units, and we can see that there are in those categories there are some subcategories referring to general damage, which is the average of single target and multi-target situations. So how the unit performs in single target situations and how it performs into multiple target situations. For Sealy, as I said, it is no question, because if Sealy does hit a kill, she has another attack which doesn't take a turn. So basically, she is able to kill every opponent in just one turn. It is of course not AoE because you have to do it one by one, but it acts like an AoE skill because it does only take one turn for every attack. And yeah, Sealy does all this with her single target scalings, and that's the thing why I do think that Sealy is so broken. Yeah, I think if you start the game right now, you're a little unlucky because you don't have her. I also don't have her, but it is not because that I don't like the character. I just want to give myself a little challenge playing the game free to play and not with only meta characters, more so with characters that I like. And yeah, Sealy is not a character that I liked enough to summoning for her, but I do believe that she is one of the best characters in the game, or she is the best character in the game, as I already mentioned. Now, the new addition is Blade, and I think that spot where he is fits perfectly. I do believe he is the second best DPS in the game, not the second best, or not the second highest damage dealer, but like overall the second best unit in terms of a DPS unit. He is a little worse than Sealy, but I think he's still very balanced. And yeah, I coming from Genshin Impact, if you guys do know the character Zhao, I think he is like very similar to him. I think Zhao was like on a very similar spot. He just came out a little later, but I do think that like Blade is a very, 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 very good offensive character. But I don't feel that he is that broken like Sealy. He is still very good. He has a lot of things to offer, and especially in, as you can see, multiple target situations, he does hit for AoE. I think this is very valuable because he splash damages, and the splash damage is very, very good. I tested him a couple of times already. I don't have him. I tried to pull for him just a couple of multis, but I didn't end up getting him, and I will now stop because I want to save for Kafka. And yeah, I think that his spot is on a really good tier right now. But with that happening, I think that there's also movement that happened, and it literally moved every character that was in this tier before one tier down. So basically, all those 4 characters here, Clara, Jingyon, Welt, and Yangqing, were on the S tier before Blade releases, and now they're moved down to the A tier, which is, I do think, a natural thing to happen. So what is important right now here is that the characters didn't get worse. I think a lot of people do misunderstand it. Even though power creep right now happens, which is normal in a gacha game, new DPS unit are coming out. They have to be stronger because Hoyo Warriors want to sell their characters. So I think this is a very usual thing in a game to happen. So that means other characters move a tier down, not because they're getting worse, just because there's a new unit that is better than them. Because what we're right now facing is that the content in the game currently doesn't get harder. We still have the same content. So we still have Memory of Chaos, and it is not harder than 2 weeks ago. And with the events that are adding in, they're also not harder than the events that were coming out before Blade releases. It is not more difficult. It is just now that we have a unit that helps clearing this a little bit easier. We have another option to clear that. And that is the reason why these characters moved one tier down. So I did go over them already. What I do think is very strange is that Qingque is still in this tier. For the 4-star characters, they now added in the Eidolon 4, so they are all looking at them with Eidolon 4, which I think is a very realistic way to look at the character. Even though I don't have Qingque E4, I have, I think, like E3, but that's fine. The later or earlier you will get all 4 stars with Eidolons. Doesn't matter if you're free to play or not, but you will end up summoning and you will end up getting the 4 stars. There are not that much 4 stars in the game, so they will rotate, and they always rotate in 3 groups per banner. So yeah, I think you will end up getting them. And currently, I also do think that all these characters belong in this tier. I'm not too sure about Qingque. I'm currently using her, and I still think she's very, very, very good. I am very satisfied with her. but I don't know if she can be on the same tier as these characters. I didn't test those characters enough. I recently pulled Clara, but I'm still building her. And yeah, maybe it is the reason that Jinquei is solid like in every situation of a offensive unit. She is solid in single target and also solid in AoE damage, which like all the other units doesn't really have. Okay, I mean Jingyun is like, I don't know, I don't think he's that good in single target situations. It's just because of his Lightning Lord, but in AoE situations he's very, very good. For Weld it's like the same. Look, Weld and Jinquei are on the same tier, but I think the reason for that is that because Weld is usually not a DPS character, or he's not aimed to be a DPS character, but with the right setup he can do an insane amount of damage. So that is the reason why they put him into the damage dealer category. Yeah, Clara is insane in AoE situations just because of her passive dude. I forgot the name. How is he called? It is the blah 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 blah. Svarog. Yeah, Svarog. Because of Svarog, Clara's place is here. Yangqing is mainly here because he does a decent amount of single target damage while being an ice character. I mentioned it in my last tier list already. I think ice characters are currently in a very good spot. Every ice characters that are existing in the game, because from every category we will only have one ice character and they're all at least decent. So they all have the place to be there where they are right now, and I think that ice will be moving forward is a very important element. So as soon as we're getting an ice DPS character, that is the time where Yangqing will be POWERCREPT, in my opinion. He won't get eventually worse, but it is the same thing with Blade. He will get POWERCREPT because there is another one that is better, and maybe Memory of Chaos will get new special effects or special conditions, and the new ice hunt character, erudition, destruction, whatever offensive character it is, will replace Yangqing there, and Yangqing is like just a maybe second option for this for this stage. So yeah, but for now I do think he is a very, very good character, and the same goes for the other fours. So as I said, I don't know if I would see Jinquei in the same tier as the other ones. Maybe she could be on the top of B, because I think she is more on the side of the other characters that moved one tier down. But I think I can live with her being in the A tier. So now automatically, because they moved one tier down, these five characters also moved one tier down. They moved to Sampo, which I think is a lot more fair, because Sampo was I don't think that Sampo is significantly worse than those five characters. I think Sampo is a very decent character. I started to build him a little, I tested him a little, and just from playing him, I don't think that he is that worse, especially with Kafka's upcoming release. He could potentially be a better character after the release of Kafka. So yeah, these four characters, so Danheng, Hook, Serval, Susheng, are basically always your plan B offensive character of that element. So basically, all of these elements currently have at least one better option. I think except for Hook. Except for Hook. Every element has one better option. So basically, Danheng currently has Blade as the better option. Himiko should be the better option of Hook, but I cannot really see Himiko being much better than Hook, besides for AoE situations. I used Hook a little during the story mode and all that, and I always felt that she was decent. But I think that it is really fair that Himiko and Hook are on the same tier. I don't think that Himiko belongs on the same tier like these characters, like these 4 5-stars here. So yeah, I think it's fair, but usually Himiko should be the replacement for Hook, which we currently not have. So we're waiting basically for a better fire 5-star character. So I'm pretty sure the first 5-star fire character that is from the from an offensive type will definitely be at least here or even here. So definitely better than this. Su Shang's replacement is Clara, so she is the better offensive physical character. And for Serval, it's currently Jingyon and definitely will be Kefka. So Kefka will be at least here, but my prediction is that she will be here. She won't be on the level of Sealy, I'm pretty sure about that, but she could be on the level of Blade. But we will discuss that as soon as she is out, as soon as Prideband.gg updated the tier list. I will talk about this topic again. Then another thing that I noticed is that All-In moved one tier down. I think this also, I don't know, this also happened because every else moved one tier down, and there's not a worse tier than C. So I think that this just automatically happened because everybody moved one tier down. So basically, Blades Edition moved just all these characters down. If we're looking for the offensive supports, still Bronya and Silverwolf are on the top. I do think that they are very consistent characters. They're very insane. Like in terms of overall character, I think they really feel like staple units, so I don't want to say that they're broken, but they feel like a character that you should have. So you should have have one of these two, because they're very consistent characters overall in terms of debuffing, and you have a very good replacement with Pella and Tingyan. I think they're all like very, very good replacements. Pella is not directly a replacement for Silverwolf because they are not doing necessarily the same, but Tingyan is a good replacement for Bronya because she kind of does the same. She kind of does the same. She doesn't do exactly the same thing, of course, but she aims to do the thing that Bronya does, so giving damage, buff, damage, support, even though that Bronya can advance forward the action, increases the crit damage, and so on. I think that this aspect on Tingyan is very good. With Pella, Pella doesn't do the same as Silverwolf, as I already mentioned. They're two different characters, but I do really think that Pella has a place here because I do think she's a really, really good character. Then moving forward, Asa, Yukong are also not bad characters. In general, I'd have to say that Harmony characters, Nihility characters with the offensive support debuffer attributes, they are overall very solid units. I think that these two units are also playable. They have the right to be here. They're all a little worse than this, so if you have to decide for certain situations, like for damage buff and like Pella for crowd control situations, I do think that they are both a little better than these two if we have to compare them directly, but I don't think that it means that you won't have to use them. They still have their place. I think in some situations they could fit better in your team composition, because sometimes it depends on that, and sometimes they could be better than the units mentioned here, both. Yeah, besides that, nothing changed for this category because there's no new character that moved in there. I think that Kefka will also move in this category, even though she is a Nihility character, but her kit seems very offensive, not supportish, but we will see as she comes out. Next is the defensive support category. So basically, Japard moved one tier down. Did they talk about this in yeah, they talked about this in the changelog. So we can see their reasons here. While we initially thought we would be able to compete with Locha, but sadly that's not the case, that Locha is simply in another league compared to any other defensive character. Yeah, that's what I just mentioned before. I said I do think that Celia and Locha are the most broken characters in the game, and they just had the same. As I said, that's why I'm using this side. They just had the same opinion as me, and that's why they just moved Japard one tier down. It is not because Japard is necessarily bad, but they do see that Locha is just the best character for this type of category, and I do agree with that. I think S plus is really a category where only really good units belong there. So my reasoning for putting these four characters into the S plus tiers, I do think that you have to have one of these because they are very stable characters, and what they're doing it at its best. But like, just for those two characters, for Bronya and for Silverwolf, I think they're all replacements that are a little worse than these, but they're all replacements that are like I'd say reasonable. Actually, the same goes for Luoja. If you need a healer, you have Bailu and you have Natasha as your plan B or your plan C. But I still think that what Luoja is doing is out of another league, because he already on E0 can function as a tank and as a healer, which both of those characters cannot do. Bailu and Natasha, they only can heal. This is their main focus. They only can heal. While Luoja brings utility, he brings heal, he brings tankiness, and that already only on idle on 0. And that is a character that doesn't exist into the game. Of course, he is not as good as Jiport. He doesn't heal as good as Bailu. But the good thing on this character is that he does everything at once. He is a multifunctional character, and that is mainly the focus that you want to look into if you're looking into a gacha game. A unit that can do multiple things is one of the most valuable units in the game, and that is the reason why I do think Luoja is broken, just because he has the ability to do multiple things, and being a healer, which is currently one of the most important defensive options that you do need in a team. Yeah, besides that, on the defensive support category, nothing really changed. I think that the choices here are a little more obvious than on the other categories. We don't have any more characters, so they're all on the same level because they all have their defensive capabilities. But we have like 2 characters that are much better than those 3 characters. So Japort is like, I don't know, I wouldn't say Japort is much better than the Trailblazer, but he is definitely significantly better than those 2 defensive characters, while Bailu is also significantly better than Natasha. And then we have Luoja, that is better than everybody because he can fulfill multiple of his tools, and his kit is multifunctional, as I already mentioned that. Yeah, with that out of the way, we have another 20-minute video on the tier list. I will update this again if Kafka comes out, but I think I won't do it right away on the release day. Maybe I will keep 2 to 3 days because I pull Kafka on myself, so I can test her very intensively. Hope you guys will join me on stream, because on this day of her release, I will do a stream, and hopefully we can hit 1,000 subscribers until then. And if we do so, I will do the giveaway that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And yeah, with that out of the way, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.